Dale Beaumont and welcome to Get Published TV, the only dedicated show on the internet to help authors and aspiring authors to write, publish and market their own best-selling book in 8 minutes a day or less. Now today is actually episode number 2, and this is actually a continuation from yesterday's episode number 1, of course. And so if you're watching this one first, then please go back, watch episode 1 and then come back and continue listening. Okay, just picking up right now of what we were talking about. We're talking about how important it is for you to actually think about what your outcome is or what your reason is for writing and publishing your book. And this is so very important because of all the decisions that you have to make along the way. All right, now what we spoke about briefly yesterday was a bit of a scale and on two different ends of the spectrum. On this side we've got people that want to get more exposure, and on this side making money. Where along that line do you sit? Okay, the next one was about bookshops. Do you want to have your book in bookshops, or you're not really fussed? Because again, that will affect dramatically the type of product that you actually create. All right, the next one is where we're going to continue on for now, and that is is it important for you to build a database? So you want to build a database from your book, or are you not really fussed? Is that not something that is important to you? Again, you're going to make different decisions, and your book is going to have different elements if you want to build a database compared to if you don't want to build a database. Okay, now let me just show you an example. This is a friend of mine. His name is Stuart Zadell, and he's republished this book, and I'm guessing you would have heard about it before. It's one of the highest selling non-fiction books of all time, and it's called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now we'll talk more about this book and how this person was able to publish it later on in the future, but right now you can see in this book here, if we flick through it, at the bottom of every page of this book, it actually mentions a website, and it says to claim your 5 free gifts, go to, and it mentions the name of the website at the bottom of every single page. So clearly, one of the major reasons why this person was writing a book was in order to build a database. Okay, let me show you another example, one of my own, and that's this one right here. This is called Secrets of Great Public Speakers Exposed. On the front cover, I've actually got this little bubble here, and it has $557 worth of free bonus gifts. So inside there's a number of strategic places where I talk about those bonuses, and I encourage people to develop a relationship with me. Now in a future episode we're going to talk about why that's so important from a commercial point of view, but also from a personal and relationship point of view. So we'll hold that thought for a future episode. But again, where along that line do you sit? Whereas other people that I know, this is another friend of mine called Simon Reynolds. This book is called When They Zig You Zag, and there's actually no reference in this book, I think, whatsoever for an actual website, and there's no way for people to actually collect details or build a relationship for the future, none whatsoever. So that's fine, there's no right or wrong here, there's only outcome, right? What outcome are you really going for? All right, and now as I'm saying this, I may lose a few fiction people right now, because you may be thinking, building a database from a fiction book? Well, there's actually a whole lot of ways that you can actually build a database from actually writing a fiction book, and we're going to talk about that again in a future episode. So keep staying tuned to Get Published TV. Where along that line do you sit? How important that is that for you? If it's really important, then you've got to put a lot of focus on it. You may mention it on the front cover, the back cover, the first page when you open the book, every page at the bottom. Or if it's not that important, or you're halfway in between, maybe you'll mention it at the back, or maybe once or twice, but you're not going to put a lot of time and focus on it. Or if it's not important, then don't mention it at all, okay? It's up to you. The next thing to look at is about media exposure. Okay, now if you want media exposure, then we'll put that one over on this side. If you don't want media exposure, then we'll put that on the other side, because if you want it, you're going to have to make different decisions when it comes to your book. You are going to have to maybe come up with a different title, one that actually has a little bit of kind of appeal. Let me give you a quick example of that. There has been thousands of books written over the last 20-30 years on the subject of public speaking, right? So you can write another book if you like called How to Speak in Public. Now if you want to do that, that's absolutely fine, but if you send that out to maybe a national television program, or you want to be on Oprah and you send your book to Oprah, you're probably not going to get anyone pick you up and want to do a story about another book on how to become a speaker. Why? Because there's thousands of books out there. But another book that I saw recently was a book about public speaking, but the title was Say It Like Obama, and it have a picture of President Obama on the cover, you know, standing doing one of his cool speeches. And why? Because obviously that's very topical. We all know that he's a great orator and great speaker, and essentially it can be the same book, but because it's got a different title and maybe a different introduction, therefore that has newsworthiness, that has appeal. People want to know, yeah, how do you become a great public speaker like Obama? You see how it's the same book, but because we're going for actually media exposure, we're going to do different things. Now that's just one, that's just the title. I could probably list 10 or 15 different decisions that you'll need to make if you want to get media exposure for your book, but that'll take up too much time and I need to continue. So again, I'll cover that on a future episode. All right, the next one is important as well. Do you want to have local appeal with regards to your book, or do you want to have international appeal? Again, you're going to make very different decisions with regards to those two things, okay? Is it just local, or is it going to be international? Like for example, my books actually are about Australian people, and even though this is a book about great public speakers, all these people that are in it are Australians, and therefore my book actually has limited appeal. That's why presently my books aren't sold on Amazon.com, they're not available in the US, and the reason being is because even though probably 90% of the content is universal and it would be great value, because people don't know or recognize any of these faces on the book, therefore it's not going to really sell. So it's really important to know that. Now I made that decision, I decided I wanted to be local, I decided that I wanted to have people that knew and that could trust because they know them. But again, think about that. So the question is, do you want to have a local focus, sell to just maybe your state, or is it your country, or is it the entire world? If so, you must create a different product. Having a website that has a .co.uk or .com.sg isn't probably going to work for you. You probably want to have a .com, right, if you want to appeal internationally. So they're just a couple of quick things off the top of my head. There's probably a whole lot more that I could go into. And the last one I'm going to share with you before I run out of time, and that is, do you want to put you into that book? And it's about promoting your name, your profile, your kind of credibility, or is it really about the information? Is it about your subject matter? Do you want kind of you to fade into the background, or do you kind of want to have your name up in lights? Because if you want to actually have your name up in lights, you may want to actually, this person hasn't done it, but you may want to put a photo of you on the actual front cover, okay? So if you want to do that, you have a photo of yourself, you might have your name in big writing, or sometimes people even have their name right at the top, even before the title, because again, they want to put their name up in lights. A lot of people actually have photos of themselves throughout the book, maybe at the beginning. If you want to see one of my books, at the back of my book, I've got it's not at the front, because again, it was important, but not that important for me. Then I've got a picture of myself and a bio. So again, that's another decision that you have to make. So what I want you to do now is take all of that information, take those sort of sliding scales, and ask yourself, where along that sliding scale do you fit? So if you draw it out for yourself on a piece of paper, put those two things at either ends and maybe say, where do you want to be? And then take that and then write another description. Maybe you turn it into 2 or 3 paragraphs, maybe it's an entire page, maybe you list it out in bullet points. I don't know, you got to figure that out for yourself and actually write down what is your reason, why are you actually writing the book, and get really clear on that, because as I said, it affects everything else that you're going to do in the future. All the decisions that you're going to make, you need to go, right, is this decision going to help me to get what I want and achieve those objectives? If the answer is no, then don't do it, walk away, okay? But if the answer is yes, then of course go ahead, okay? It's the right decision because it achieves your objective. So hopefully you've enjoyed today's video and yesterday's video when you put them both together. It's a very important topic, and that's the reason why I wanted to deal with it right up front. After this, who knows where we're going to go? We're going to go in all different directions. We're not going to start at number 1 and go through to number 100 in order. We're going to bounce around the place based on what I feel like and what's kind of happening. So we're in for an awesome ride. This is Dale Beaumont from Get Published TV. Look forward to talking to you again in the next video.